uphill. When you run outdoors and not on the treadmill, you are always playing a game of deception with yourself. You wait until you feel your legs bend back into themselves like uncooked spaghetti, and the breath leaving your lungs through your mouth syncopates, and then you begin the game. 10 more yards to the small tree on the right, and then you'll rest. The tree passes, and you're still running. 10 more yards to the trash can buzzing with flies, and then you'll rest. The trash can flies by, and you're still running. You have played this game hundreds of times with yourself, and somehow the self never learns the rules. Somehow she obeys when you tell her you'll let her rest, if only she keeps running, so she does, and you don't. And there's no finish line to cross except the pleasure of deflating your chest just to feel the air rush back in when you push yourself to imagine that you will never breathe again. Or maybe it's shaving down your ankles like the pink eraser at the end of your number 2 pencil, just to remember that you have ankles and they're good at what they do. The way the eraser is the only thing that sets pencils apart from pens. You tell the self there are ways to play the game to make it easier, and that just because something is easier does not mean it is any less, that a shortcut is not the same as cutting corners. You tell her she can run under the summer sun and imagine the foliage to be her electric fan, no matter the density of the heat. And in the winter, when your fingertips are numb, you light a small fireplace in your mind. Your mouth, the chimney, your chest, the stoop, your legs shoveling coal, and maybe you imagine your feet pounding, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, like the sun setting and the sun rising, the sun setting and the sun rising, the sun setting, the sun rising and setting and rising and setting, and it becomes difficult to imagine how the sun manages relentlessly, despite how very dark the night is and how lonely it must be to know you're the only body in the universe sustaining all these others, day in and day out in the most literal sense. And then you remember there are some people who give a few pints of their own blood to save perhaps 6 lives, the way you might buy a pint of ice cream from the grocery store, and you tell yourself you don't sign up to donate because you will faint at the sight of the good red stuff, but truthfully, it's because you want to keep everything your body makes all to yourself, no matter how terrible. And then your body begs you to slow down once more, and each of your limbs calls out your name like they are remembering again after a long time. So finally, you listen, and the game with no winners or losers comes to an end, and maybe you will play it again tomorrow, or the day after that, or maybe you will wait until you really feel like it to put your shoes back on, not for the sake of the running, but for the sake of the breath leaving your lungs through your mouth.